Welcome to this episode of Business Builders Intensive. I'm Dr. Laura Schwalek, and my co-host is
Jerry Kazaya.
Curious what business owners are doing to double revenue, have more cash flow, work less hours, and provide a better lifestyle for their family? Dive into the world of business growth that leads to guaranteed wealth every Tuesday with your hosts, Dr. Laura Schwalek and Jerry Kazaya. Grow and get answers to your business and investment questions that provide clarity, move you forward, and inspire you to reach your goals. Today,
I am excellent.
you are excellent. Today we have a special guest with us.
A special case.
We
Not just a special guest, a special case.
We want to share with you our editor for our podcast,
A troublemaker.
Chris Hines. So, Chris, I'm going to ask you, first of all, just tell us and everyone about your company. And because I know that you do more than just editing, and you have your own podcast, you do a lot of things. Tell us what you do and tell us your favorite thing to do.
Oh man, that is a loaded question. I do so much more than editing. When I first started podcasting, that's where I started, was learning how to edit and produce shows and all of that stuff. Now I'm into so much. I have the company PodCentral, which is software. I still do a little consulting here and there, not nearly as much. I speak at podcast events. I'm literally all over the place now. I do host one podcast. I'm working on launching another one, actually two in the next 2 months. So it's just nonstop for me. I love it.
Wow, that's a lot. Cool.
And what's your favorite?
It's so hard to pick. I would say, honestly, consulting is my favorite because it's just a skill I've always had. Of sometimes I'll be at parties or at events and people will come to me with their ideas for a show, and I can just lay out a full plan from all the ideas in their head. I can lay out a full plan for them to execute within a couple minutes. So it's something I've always been really good at. And for a long time, honestly, it took me a while to figure out how to monetize that. Now that I found a way to monetize it, it's just been an incredible journey, man. I love it.
Beautiful. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I start talking to someone about their business issues, and I can usually narrow it down in just a few minutes for me to be able to figure out what it is that they need. And then I need to be able to convince them that what it is that they need.
That's the part right there. And that's for me, it took me years. I've wanted to build the software I have now since 2015. So it took 7 to 8 years to really figure out how to take what's in here and honestly in here and put it out there to the world in a way that could be valuable to people to where I could be profitable long term. So I'm just thankful to be in this place now to where I can make money doing what I love to do. That right there is something every morning I wake up, I'm excited every day, literally.
Beautiful.
That is truly the American dream, to do what it is that you love to do.
Yeah. And a lot of people say, follow your passion. I'm passionate about a lot of things. And I'm really passionate. I'm going to stay out of that problem. Right. But the truth is, follow what you're really good at to earn the money. And then in your spare time, then you follow your passion.
And they always end up, from my experience, intertwining. Because in the beginning with podcasting, I was like, man, I can't be a podcaster. Like, how am I going to get to the life I want, the financially free life, to give my kids what they want and work when I want to if I'm just a podcaster? And after about 1.5 years, I started realizing I could actually do this. It's going to take time to figure it out. And I was just committed to the process of, if this takes 10 or 15 years, I'm riding a wave. And it didn't take the full 10. So I'm thankful for that.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
You
Thank
should
you.
be proud of that. You're really proud of that. Now, a lot of people still struggle. They struggle even after 10 and 15 years. We have a client who miraculously, they've been working with us for a number of years, and they've owned their business for almost 15 years, and they've struggled, and somehow they found their stride, and they are just booming like crazy. It's good for them. I'm proud of them.
Sometimes it seems like it just takes like the right thing or the right, just keep on going, even if it feels sometimes we don't have good cheerleaders around us. And some people might say, go get a job, just get a job, instead of really doing what you're passionate about. And so it's partly about keeping that faith that you can really do it.
Yeah, the ones that I love the people that they bust their tail for 10, 15, 20 years, and then they come out and they go, "Oh, you're an overnight success."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have
Oh,
no idea about the drama that went on for all those years.
no idea. No, and I love what you said about having cheerleaders around because in the beginning, that was a limiting belief I had on myself is if I don't have people supporting what I'm doing, I can't be successful. I need my family to care about it. I need this person to care about it. And once you get over that, the right cheerleaders, so to speak, they find you. Once you just start doing what you do and you're good at it, the right people will start to gravitate towards you. And I think that's how
Mhm.
you even build a really successful team. Like I have so many great partnerships now because I just started doing what I wanted to do. And the right people started popping up out of the sky.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Beautiful.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, I know that your business is doing well, but is there something that like is your biggest struggle or has been your biggest struggle so far in your business?
I can say this year, one of the harder things was with the software of the developing part. I'm not a developer. I just knew what I wanted to build. So I had to, the hard part for me this year was figuring out how to bring in a developer, convey what I want them to do, and make sure they're getting the job done. So, like hiring and bringing different people into the team. Because truthfully, up until 2021, I was doing everything by myself. So it took
Mm.
some time. It took years for me to figure out how do I hire somebody, even if I want to just contract them to do certain things for a short period of time. That was a real challenge. And that's one of the things that I can say in terms of research and books and YouTube videos, podcasts. You don't see a lot of content on that. Like, how do you bring in the right help? That was a struggle for me for years. Like, I would even have the money to, and it just sometimes I would hire people, they wouldn't do the job. And it was really frustrating for a very long time. So I just got good at that, like just now.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Fantastic. Hiring and firing is always a struggle for big companies, small companies, everyone. It's a big deal.
Years ago, let me tell you about that struggle. Years ago, they hired professional police detectives to interview people. And the detectives were wrong more than 50% of the time when it came to the hiring choices. Now, these are professional investigators. These are people that have gone to school. They've been trained for literally years on how to do investigations, and they were wrong more than 50% of the time. As a small business owner, what are your chances of being right? You know what I mean? You don't have the tools, you don't have the training, and you don't do it every day like the detectives do. They investigate every single day of their life, and you have to hire once or twice a year. What are your chances of getting it right? I promise you, it's very small,
Wow,
right?
those are
You
some incredible stats. That's incredible
you have
numbers.
to have the right tools. You've got to have the right tools.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right tools for your hiring process, you're going to fail miserably, I promise, and your business will suffer.
Yeah, yeah, I 100% agree. And I think from the entrepreneurs I interview that I've talked to, I've done thousands of interviews over the years now, and I can tell you that's the number one problem that entrepreneurs face, especially in this digital age where you can start a company pretty easy, but nobody tells you is the hard part is going from starting a company to being a profitable company to being like making money. That's the
Yeah.
leap. Like that right there is the leap of hiring that first person or even just having certain help that's there for a short term. Like that, I think that's some of the entrepreneurial training that should come right after mindset, right? That's so important. And I didn't realize how important it was until I started. I paid my developer a couple months ago and he was doing all the building and stuff. It was incredible when I was able to take a step away and just focus on marketing. It was like,
Mhm.
wow, imagine if I could have done this 6 years ago. That's the part I think more business owners need to see is what life is like when you have that help, have good help. Oh man, that is literally life changing.
It is, without question.
It
Yeah.
absolutely. Chris, before I forget, would you share your contact information with everyone? Because I know that you have the software, you do the consulting, and then you do some editing. So, what's the best way for people to reach you?
You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Chris Podcasting. Find the company PodCentral on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn as well. Just reach out. Any podcast needs, just contact me there and we can talk.
Awesome.
And it's Chris with a C, not Chris with a K.
Yes, CHRIS.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Great. And I heard one of your little girls in the background there. And I just want to say, if I could have your permission, one of the things that really impressed me about you, Chris, is when we were first interviewing you, we asked you, what's the hardest thing that you've ever done in your life? And you said, taking care of my little girls. Do you mind telling that story again, just a little, so that people can get a sense of who you are?
Yeah, so I am a father, but it's a different type of father just because my situation is very different. I have three girls. One is in Texas. She doesn't live with me, but my two youngest are with me, 5-year-old and 2-year-old. And my daughter's mom, who's now my fiance, she actually got diagnosed with cancer about 3 or 4 months into her pregnancy. And this was at the peak of COVID, which was like the worst time to be at the hospital. It was so bad.
Wow.
Obviously, I had my oldest with me at the time and the 5-year-old, she was maybe 3 or 4, just those 2. I'm taking care of them. She had the baby, came out the hospital for about a week or so, and she had to go back for more chemotherapy. And she basically was in a hospital for, I would say, like, maybe 9 months from the and towards the middle of the pregnancy, even after. So, it was a really long period of 6, 7 months, something like that, where it was just me. So, like, I had the newborn and I had the oldest taking them to daycare, to school, and then you hear her now. That's her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she would be right next to me in meetings. I was getting up with her every 2 hours. Like, I still had coaching calls. I was still doing podcast interviews, and she was sometimes I'll be feeding her with the bottle and everything. And then when her mom was out of the hospital, we did a lot of the in-home care, for her at night and being with the kids all the time. So it forced me to develop more patience, number 1, and I would say mature even more. Like, I just had to become a different version of myself to do that.
Superman,
Yeah.
Super Chris version,
Wow,
right? Really,
that's like,
dude. You know what? And I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, that's how you truly test the mettle of a man. You put your ass into a really tough situation, and the good ones will rise to the top and do whatever it takes. Right? The
Yeah,
weak
it
ones
was
come up with every excuse in the world to not get things done and to fall by the wayside. I want to say congratulations. My hat's off to you. Huge respect, huge appreciation. And I want everybody to get that, right? Life happens to all of us. And how you
yes.
deal with it is what makes the difference. And you dealt with it as a man should deal with it. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's something that I don't look at it as a negative thing. Like, I get so many questions all the time, like, "How did you do that?" And honestly, I just was like every morning telling myself, "Gotta get through today and show up today." Right? Show
yeah,
up today for the people that need you. That's it. There were some times where it was really frustrating, exhausting, obviously, but just priorities, figuring out priorities, the self care thing. I didn't realize how important it was until then. I had to learn how to take time for me, even away from work. And
Yeah.
man, it really made me a better person, honestly. It really did.
How do you do it? God, how do you not do it?
yeah.
There was
How do
no
you
other option.
what, you have a choice? How do you tell your newborn, hey, you know what? I'd really love to take care of you. I really love to change your diaper, but daddy needs a nap. You I'd really, hey, you know, I really like to help my little 4-year-old. I'd really love to make dinner for you, but I'm going out with the guys tonight. Daddy needs a break. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
But
that was just done. But I will say one trick that I did that worked really well. I started to block out my calendar during her usual nap times so people couldn't schedule appointments, or because it might be, you might think it's smart to work when they're asleep, but that's when you need sleep. In the first 3 months, you have to sleep when they're sleeping. There
Yeah.
was sometimes I had to work with people in China and Africa, around the world. I would be on meetings at night, 11, 12 o'clock at night. And that's what I had to do to get to the point of where I am now with the company and with public speaking and all the podcast stuff. I really had to go through that time period. And that just showed me that I could pretty much deal with anything. Like, nothing scares me at this point because that was hard.
Yeah.
I understand. I had similar experiences. It didn't involve cancer or what that, but there were times when man, I couldn't quit. I couldn't quit. I didn't. I had a choice, but I would have thrown away everything I had worked for my
Yes.
entire life up to that moment, and I was unwilling. I was unwilling to restart. I was willing to do whatever I needed to do to make sure that I could keep going with the momentum that I had, regardless of the temporary cost.
Yes.
I hear men in different circles talk about the grind. You just got to get through the grind, get through the grind. I'm going to, from a female perspective, okay, to you, it might look like the grind, but to me, we're looking at you like you're the superhero. It may feel like a grind to you because you do it every day, or it's just stuff that you have to get done. It's like that's just who you are. But to us, it's wow, man, that man's a hero. That man's a superhero, taking care of kids and business and wife and the stuff that my husband has been through. It's like he's my hero all around. That's the
Oh,
truth. That's the truth. So it's the grind. It's not just what you do, it's what you think about and how you think about things. Because you can think about something as being a grind and it'll bring you down, or you can say, hey, you know what, this just has to be done and let's just get her done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't even call it the grind. I see it as just different stages of my career. I look at it as, or my life, I look at it as the learning stage. In the very beginning, I was just learning things, just trying to figure
Yeah.
stuff out. I saw that as the earning stage. I see that as I have to really commit to the process of what I'm building in my business and my family life to create what I want down the road. Like now, we're literally planning a vacation to go see my family in LA in July next month. And I was able to pay for the entire family vacation without breaking a sweat. That's
Yeah.
why I went through that years ago so I could do this part. Like, I think we have to be willing to, I won't say struggle, but I think just really grow and become better versions of who we are to get the outcomes we want. If every time you hit that ceiling and it gets too hard, you say, I'm going to find a way to get out of this, you're never really going to get past that next step to evolve.
it's further proof that all growth comes from outside of your comfort zone. You have to be uncomfortable. We had a call earlier today, one of our clients, and we were chatting with him, and he started whining. I go, here's the bottom line. The bottom line is you're fat and happy. There's no pain in your life right now. Your marriage is good, your business is good, your money is good, your health is good, everything in your life is good. And subconsciously, and this was for him, he's the type of person that will subconsciously sabotage something in his life so that he has to struggle somewhere. And
Oh,
so let's correct that,
Yeah.
right? Let's make sure this doesn't happen, right? And so we gave him some specific exercises. And the bottom line is, Chris, you only grow when you're outside of your comfort zone.
yeah. Yeah. That was tough.
And I'm going to add something to that because Jerry is constantly reading. And someone asked him, why are you reading all the time? Why do you read all that stuff? And he said, the reason why I read is because I love to learn. I need to learn. I love to learn. I need to learn. And the reason why I love to learn is because something that made me learn something will make me a better man than I was a second ago.
Yeah. I see that
And
as a
so
responsibility we have as men is to constantly learn new things. And even for me, one of the things I do to learn like that is with YouTube channels and books and podcasts. I like to cycle through what I'm listening to, what I'm watching, what I consume every 3 or 4 months so that I never get in a bubble of just learning and hearing the same thing. I want to hear and learn different things. So I always have a different perspective.
I have a little piece of advice for you for whatever this is worth. Okay. YouTube, when you're watching YouTube, the average person speaks between 150 to 175 words per minute. The average person reads between 250 and 300 words per minute. If you do a speed reading course, I got up to 1,200 words per minute, right? I increased my retention from 75% to 90% during speed reading processing. You can learn so much more, so much faster, and retain it better, again, using the proper tools. YouTube videos are great, but even if you double the speed, you're only listening at the rate that you would read it at without
Mm,
speed reading. So
that's a
just a
good
little
point.
tidbit of, just a
So,
little tidbit of information for everybody out there that's listening, right? Take a darn speed reading class. You will be grateful, I promise.
so take the speed reading class and then just get all the transcripts or read all the show notes. Is that what you're saying?
Why not? Hey,
I
man,
like
look,
that one.
today it's all about how do you get the best hacks.
Yeah.
There's a
Right.
hack for you. The speed reading course was 1.5 days of my life, and it changed me literally from 300 words a minute to 1,200 words a minute, and increased my retention by 33%.
Wow. That's incredible. I'm gonna have to try that out. I have to look for that. It's a pretty good
Evelyn
one. I
Wood
haven't.
speed reading. Evelyn Wood speed reading on the Fred
Yeah.
Pryor system.
And it was like 2 days, and it was maybe $99 or 190. It was not very
It
expensive.
was $150 when
Oh.
we did it. It was nothing really in the scheme of life. $150 is cheap, and it's made a huge difference in our life. And that was what, 12 years ago,
Yeah.
13 years ago.
So when
Oh
your girls
wow.
get into elementary school, have them do a speed reading course.
Oh,
Yeah.
Definitely by high school. I wish that I had done that when I was in high school. There's a lot of things I wish I had known about when I was younger.
and boys aren't one of them. So stop it.
I got a good one right here. Got a good one right here. All
I
good.
want to meet him.
Yeah. Okay. So at the end of every episode, during every episode, we talk about the hard truth. So the hard truth in this one, it seems to me like there are times when life is going to be hard. And the hard truth is you just got to buckle down and do it. Like Chris said, he went through the learning phase of his career and then the earning phase of his career. And then what's the next one, do you think, going to be?
I'm not even sure just yet, to be honest. I'm at this kind of stage where I'm still figuring things out and still learn. I don't think you ever stop learning, but I think at
Mhm.
this stage, it's more so about the partnerships, the connecting, and putting all the pieces together because I've learned so much. I've had a lot of experiences. Now I'm connecting everything. Like people I interviewed years ago on my podcast, when I first started, I'm bringing them back on my show. They're promoting the software and stuff, and we're planning events and different launches. And it's like now I'm connecting everything. And I just had to set up another LC and I'm already looking at how to turn it into an S corp. So it's like I'm taking that next step up of just evolution. I think this step might just be evolving.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
This may be the networking part of your career.
Yeah.
Getting to meet people and connect everyone together. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so the question that we have for everyone that is listening, what is the question that we have? What's a good question for today? What do you think?
What is it that you could be doing right now that will pay off dividends in the future?
Oh, yeah.
Like Chris. Chris had to bust his butt. He had to learn. He had to really apply himself against all odds. He had to deal with young people in his household, a pregnant fiance that got cancer, a newborn, as well as two other girls in his household, all while trying to juggle all those balls in the air and learning a new career and get started so that he could be with us here today on this call. What are you doing that will pay off such huge dividends in the future?
Yep. That's awesome. Good job.
Thanks.
Cool. So, Chris, would you please give your contact information again so that everyone can jot that down and we'll put it in the show notes?
Yeah, you can check out the software podcentral.online. Find me on Instagram or Twitter or even Facebook at Chris Podcasting, CHRIS Podcasting. And again, if you have a podcast or you want to start one, just reach out and talk to me. I talk to literally everybody about their shows and I'll give you ideas for free. I don't care. It's just fun to me. So let's have that conversation.
Awesome. Great. And thank
Beautiful.
you for being the editor of our podcast and helping us get our podcast out to everyone. I sincerely appreciate you so much.
Yeah, great job. We appreciate you.
Okay. Anything else you want to add or say? Anything, any advice for anyone listening?
I would like to go back to what the question that Jerry just asked. I think you should ask yourself that question every day. I kid you not. I asked myself that question this morning. What can I do today so that I reached my goal of 500 users in August. What can I do today? And when you
Yeah.
ask yourself better questions, you get better answers, which leads to better actions.
Bravo.
That's awesome. That
Bravo.
reminds me of a saying that Jerry and I actually learned from one of our mentors, T. Harv Eker. He said, I'm willing to do today what other people won't, so I can do later what other people can't. And you being able to pay for that vacation and not sweating it. Jerry and I bought a
Oh,
ranch, paid cash for it, and it was like, okay, let's go to the ranch. So,
Last week we were out at the ranch and one of the AC units didn't work.
oh,
And so we contacted them, said, come out, because take a look at it. And they go, you need a new compressor on one of the units. And I just said, great, build me an estimate on replacing both entire systems.
simple.
And when will it be done? It's not an issue of the money. It's
Oh.
I don't want to be in 90 or 100-degree weather here in Texas with no AC at my ranch. Okay.
Yeah.
And people go, how do you have a ranch and you have your home here in Plano? I said, it's very simple. Some people have a lake house. I just happen to have a bunch of acres attached to mine. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm still willing to do today what others won't, so that tomorrow I can do what others can't.
awesome.
Love it.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Chris. We really appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Grow and get answers to your business and investment questions that provide clarity, move you forward, and inspire you to reach your goals. Share the show and connect with us at BBMMUSA.com to submit questions and learn more. That's BBMMUSA.com.